Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to try something a little different here because a lot of my videos are very philosophical, thoughtful, psychological, social commentary. And a lot of MGTOW, a lot of men, feel very angry. They feel very frustrated. And they see the inevitable outcome of this conflict between men and women, between feminism and just practicality, justice and honesty. They're screaming, they're angry, and they're saying, there's going to be a collapse, a societal collapse. And I agree. So let's explore that possibility. It might be really important. And I want to break this down into 3 phases. I want to look at the potential causes where we're at right now, leading to a societal, cultural breakdown. And I want to move on from that to some of the things that might happen in the early phases of such a breakdown. And then I want to talk a little bit about where we might end up. And this is conjecture, of course, and I'm not deeply steeped in this type of rhetoric and these types of videos, but I think it's worth exploring. So here we go. Part 1, the cause of the breakdown. I think if anybody's willing to be honest, they can see where we are heading. They can see the conflict between unrestrained desire and the ability to perform work, get things done, be productive, and to exhibit self-control and take personal responsibility for your life. And you can understand the masses raised into a government situation where they are being taken care of, where if they go along with the group and they vote with the group and they adopt these liberal, feminist, man-hating policies, they will be placated. They will be given government grants. They will be given social welfare programs. It's how they're feeding themselves. And what a way to do it, right? Because it's completely maladaptive. But if they're born into that system, how are they not going to do that? How are they going to turn away from what they do in order to eat? And then anybody with any sort of, personal responsibility recognizes, no, you have to take control of yourself. You have to take the resources that you have in life and then build them up and take care of them. And it's not a question of, these other people should be taking care of me. So no matter what happens, I think that we can agree that this is the fundamental cause of the conflict that we're moving towards. Right, so it might be just some random riot which shuts down the electrical grid. It might be one of the societal sectors financially shutting down and causing, this domino effect. It might be a political conflict. It might be a military conflict. It might be an environmental conflict. But by not taking care of things right now and behaving in the way that we're behaving now, that's the cause of this collapse, whenever it comes, however it comes. So let that be a lesson, right? Okay, it hasn't happened yet, but you can still draw your conclusions. Let that be a lesson. Learn from that. Now, let's move on. Part 2. This is just an overview of some of the things that we're going to be talking about here at the Howard Dare channel. When something like this happens, I think we're going to see the response very similar to what we see in an environmental crisis, like Katrina. With the government, the state, local agencies responding first as best they can to maintain order and discipline and not let the situation get too far out of control. And depending on the severity of the situation, the federal government becoming involved. And of course, depending on how widespread whatever the problem might be. For example, if you were looking at a nationwide grid out situation, well, where are you going to send the federal government to do anything? And of course, the question becomes, how seriously would our own military become involved in doing things locally, right? That's a very serious question, because if you've got martial law coming on. So actually that would be another stage, is what I'm suggesting. You would not go straight to that stage. You would stick with a local situation. And what you'd probably have is a dependent class, women in dependent class, not getting their resources and them revolting and causing trouble. or some basic required service like water or electricity being shut down on the people and them not being able to cope and overcome. And your local authorities would step into action in a situation like that. And the men who were prepared, basically preppers, would be able to comfortably deal with a situation like that. For example, let's say the transportation system gets shut off, can't bring in new food, things like that. Okay, so there you go. Within a short period of time, the local people would start to revolt. The local authorities would step up and, try to contain the situation. And the men who were prepared, who'd stored water and food and had safe spaces, there you go. These men would be able to remain calm in the situation and hold out forever how long they needed to. Now, the situation is going to deteriorate, isn't it? Right? Because that's what we're talking about. So whatever the local situation is, I can't talk about the specifics that it's going to be, but I think that you can see the way that the situation might progress. And the smart women would be really starting to get together with the strong and capable men that I'm talking about. They would be wise to start backing those men up, taking a step back and keeping their mouths shut. Wouldn't they? But they won't. They're going to revolt. They're going to go crazy. They're going to start screaming for free, clean water, free electricity. It's going to be like, no, these things are no longer available. If you can't provide them for yourself, you're just going to have to do without them. Right? So what are they going to do? They're going to blame the state, of course. There you are. Okay, let's move on. Part 3, because the situation escalates. We're not talking about this where it becomes contained. It could be if it's just a local situation, but if it's a nationwide situation that's causing a complete oil embargo or a complete grid shutdown or running out of federal money. How about that, right? Like the states aren't given money. Something with money, like we run out of money, right? You can't sustain the social welfare programs within an area. And then the very people who have caused this weakness of the immune system of the entire society are now the ones causing the trouble. It's actually, I'm going to have to save part 3 for another time. These different types of videos, they take a long time to make and put together. I'm very curious, what you guys think about this type of video. And if you're interested in part 3, where everything just falls apart, and the world just burns. So let me know in the comment section below. And do me a favor, please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.